formula for law firm success. It's that you need to be okay mentally, you need to be happy, you need to like what you're doing, and that might not be the case for everyone. So part of the success is to eliminate that jail or prison that we create for ourselves. You didn't study and work this hard to hate what you do and to make it feel like a burden to you to do your job. It's something that as long as you are willing to dedicate the time, learn the strategies, manage your time is so important. You can definitely have it all and be happy and have a fulfilling career.
Well, I'm really excited today. I bring you an attorney from Miami. She's an immigration attorney. Her name is Nelsis Cancio. And I'm so excited because, as you know, I always talk with my the attorneys before we jump in this interview. And I'm so excited to hear about how she built her firm and the success that she's getting right now. So happy to have you here, Nelsis. How are you doing today?
I'm good, and you, Gilberto. It has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you and to set this up.
Great. Yeah, I'm excited. I think that the audience will enjoy, your experience in this journey as an attorney and specifically on building your business. So, one of the first questions that I want to ask you is that you were sharing with me that a trigger that happens to you to start the immigration law was your family. You were talking with one of your relatives. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I realize when I'm doing these interviews, there's some key experiences that trigger the attorneys to say, I want to do personal injury or I want to do this area. So share with us, what happened to you to motivate you to start an immigration firm.
Of course. So you can ask my parents. I went into law school set that I was going to be a criminal justice attorney. I had no doubt in the world that that's what I wanted to do, but I was ready to be a lawyer one way or another. Once I started the law school process, I was working as a paralegal with other attorneys even since college. And I was doing immigration and a little bit of criminal, but I hadn't really found my home yet. And then I started speaking to my grandfather. My grandfather is very important to me, even before this entire situation. And he explained to me that he doesn't have any immigration status here and that he's reporting with ICE on a yearly basis. So we would sit down for hours and look over his case and his documentation. And we had decided that I was going to be the person to come and resolve his immigration issues. Unfortunately, I graduated in May of 2023, and in January, we lost him. So I wasn't able to do that for him. But I'm able to do that now and live what I wanted to do for him through my clients.
Wow. 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 Where originally you come from? Are you from South America? Where exactly
Yeah,
you're
they're Cuban. They're Cuban immigrants, and I was born here, so I'm Cuban American.
Oh, great. So I think that that's in the kind of field that you are doing, it's really important to understand the culture of the immigrants. Is that right?
Absolutely. It's so important to be empathetic and understand where they're coming from. Every culture is different. Every way that people express themselves, live their lives, the decisions that they make all come from where you come from and who you are. So it's very important to have that understanding, to not just understand your client's case, but their history and why they are where they are today.
And Cubans has a singular um, stories, a singular history about coming to the United States as well. Um, Anyway, I think that I had the opportunity to visit Florida many times and met some Cubans as well, and I was able to hear one of the stories from a person that just came through the sea and really touched my heart. Looking for a new opportunities, and the way that he expressed that experience that I was almost die doing that, it really touched my heart. So I'm assuming that you know about all different kind of stories like that one. Is that right?
Absolutely, even personally, that's how my father got to this country. He came through what was called at that time El Mariel, which is how everyone left in boat to come here to Miami and then relocated wherever they did in the States. And my grandmother can't swim. My grandmother hates water. So for them, it was a very traumatic experience that the boat even broke down. Luckily, they were rescued by a shrimping boat that was in the area. And that's how they managed to make it here safely. But that's not everyone's case.
My goodness. That's thank you for sharing this. I think that the attorneys, are psychologists as well, When they came and shared their experiences, you need to work in their mind as well. Is that right?
Absolutely. I've had people cry during their consultations. They're sharing their deepest secrets and deepest worries with you. And it's very important to sit there and listen because not only are you giving them time to express themselves to you and rid themselves of that burden, but you're also being able to understand them and find little spots of where you can make your case.
Wow. Okay. As you know, I'm from Guatemala too, so I went my with my process, but it was a little different, But we are changing lives, You are changing lives, Um, well, what happened, that you decided to open your own firm, tell me the challenges that you went through, opening your own firm, so the audience can be related and think, oh my goodness, I went through similar things, and we can do hard things,
No, absolutely. We definitely can do hard things. So I graduated in 2023 from law school, took the bar, Florida bar, and thank God passed the first time. And during that time of waiting for my bar results, I started interviewing and looking into working with certain firms, and none of them felt right. So, thanks to my husband's support, we opened up my firm the day I received my bar results and my license after my swearing in ceremony and have never looked back. And that's a very scary move for a lot of people. It was
Like,
definitely
what am I gonna tell? Can you tell me? Okay, you just graduate, but that means that you already have in your mind to have your own firm. Is that right?
it had always been my dream. I just never knew it was going to happen so quickly.
It's 23. That was in the end of 23, in the middle of 23, in the beginning of 23.
To be completely exact, I got my bar results on the 21st. My license formally came through on the 25th. On the 25th, we were open and I signed my first client of
But
September.
what September? Oh my goodness! So you're running your firm for almost a year and a half.
Yes, almost a year and a
Oh
half.
my goodness. Okay, I'm sorry because I interrupt you. You keep going. Tell me, how was that experience?
I think the best way to explain it after having this conversation with several people, it's like taking a cold water plunge where the moment you get in, it's like, oh my God, what now? But once you let your body sit into it, you find your homeostasis and you can really start to put the pieces together. So at the beginning, it was exhilarating. It was a mix of emotions, but to this day, I think it's the best decision I've ever made.
Amazing. Do you have a mentor? Do you have a someone in your mind that you realize I want to be like this person, this attorney?
Well,
Someone that inspire you?
I've had a mix of mentors. And also, like everyone who's worked in the legal field can tell you, you have a mix of mentors and a mix of people who maybe you'll learn who you don't want to be like. And you go learning that more and more. Not that anyone is doing things the wrong way, but you're your own person. So yes, I've spoken to other attorneys who had virtual firms, who had opened up their own immigration firms, lawyers here in Miami who had spent years in the business, and they all came together and really gave me the motivation and the belief that I could do this.
Is your husband an attorney as well?
No, he's not.
Okay. Okay. Wow. That's. What do you think was the hardest part of open your firm?
I believe that the hardest part was getting over my initial fear and concerns. I think we all, when we decide that we want to take this step, we in ourselves create the doubt and the questions to back up from that. And I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking for all the attorneys that I've spoken with after opening the firm who are like, how'd you do it? The biggest fear and the questions that you create in yourself are what are holding you back. Everyone thinks, how am I going to get clients? How am I going to reach people? How am I going to manage? Are people going to even want to work with me? And the answer to all those things is yes. People need attorneys every day, and there will be work for you. But you need to believe in you for those clients to do so as well.
Wow. Especially, I want to ask you, being so young can be one of the things that you had in your mind, thinking I'm too young. People look at me and I can look young, it's possible to do anything that I'm really young. The people will respect me because I'm really young. Tell me a little bit about that, So because I always met with attorneys every month, and there's attorneys right now that they are on their 40s thinking to open their own firm. And that can be an inspiration to understand, in your case, I think besides having enough money to have your office, hiring the people that you need to help you, but put it in your mind, shift that mindset about I'm really young, but I can do it. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Absolutely. So, full transparency with all the listeners, I turned 25 just a few days ago, the end of January. So, it was something that worried me. It wasn't enough to hinder me. And I know that we all have the I'm too young or I'm too old. Age shouldn't matter. I see it in my clients' faces on the regular where they arrive at the office to see me, and you'll get those funny smiles as to, is this the attorney or is this the paralegal? But the moment that I sit down with them and we discuss their case and we review the documents, that face changes to a face of understanding and a face of, this is a person who's going to help me. And that could happen regardless of how old you are. All they care to see is that you will offer them a solution that they desperately need. So age shouldn't stop anyone.
Great, great. How many employees do you have right now?
I currently have 5 and we are growing slowly but surely. So the idea is that by the end of this year, we will have a team of 10.
Great, great. Oh my goodness, what a beautiful story. So, how you learn to delegate? Because that's the other really hard thing to do. You don't receive any classes about administration in the law in school, about sales, about delegating, and I think that a lot of attorneys struggle in a lot in delegation. What do you think is the key to go through that delegation process?
Absolutely. So I spoke about this not too long ago with another speaker, and she used this word that I love. It's called delegophobia, the phobia of delegating. And we all have it. I'm still overcoming it slowly as lawyers and with our licenses on the line. It's worrisome to put something that might be important in someone else's hands. I think the most important thing is training, and it's something that I teach in my program, the Law Firm Success Formula. It's very important to have a team that you can trust in because you cannot do everything. So, what I recommend is you make a list of all the tasks that you regularly do and then start siphoning out what's something someone else can do and what's something that you need to do. For example, an attorney has to do the legal arguments. An attorney is the one that cites cases in a certain way. But if you have a chief paralegal who's really good at these things and knows legal research, you can delegate a certain amount. You don't have to be checking your emails every day or answering every call. An executive assistant or a receptionist can help you do that. But it's very important for you to know what's on your plate so you can start to figure out how to send that.
Right. What about the technology? CRMs are really important to grow your business. So I assume that you're using a CRM as well, to handle the cases and the good customer service.
Absolutely. So, the best thing that's come from technology is being able to automate certain things. And I know that with certain age groups in this field, we fear technology. But on the contrary, it's something that we should openly welcome because it takes so much off of our plates. With a good CRM, not only are you organizing your files, making sure that clients have the updates on the spot, but you can also automate emails to follow up with any of the clients who haven't signed and to make sure that you keep in communication with clients that have already finished their case for any future referrals or to continue to work with them.
Great. So being young, you are so familiar with technology, and that's easy for you. That can be something hard for someone that is 40, 50 years old, to learn about using the technology and set up emails and all the software. But that's an advantage that you have, because for you, using technologies, it was something that you are familiar. Is that right?
Yes, definitely. I'm very familiar, but I do believe that old dogs can learn new tricks. There's no reason to think that you can't acclimate to the times. If you go through law school and you pass the bar, you can learn how to use your computer and how to send an email. So it's part of things that I do right now that I'm helping older generation attorneys learn to use, for example, the USCIS system. Now you can file a form in a matter of hours and have the receipt automatically, something that usually would take a month with immigration. So it is a huge benefit to be involved in technology. And I guess that's something that I can benefit from because of my age.
Great, great. you know, um, I was telling you that I was so familiar with that because when I was 24 years old, I was in charge for the company that we own in my country with 20 something, 30 something employees, and I was the youngest one. And for me, it was hard to 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 see or think how they will respect me being the youngest one in the whole company, and I was working with that, and when you have those kind of problems and you work on that, you finally get the results. You get the outcomes that you are waiting for, if you work on that. So like you said, technology is something huge and is going to keep changing in the next 4 or 5 years. It's going so fast that you need to jump in that freeway and learn the skills that technology can allows you to improve. So okay, so Nelsis, I would like to ask you too. Is there a case that really touched your heart? A case that you make you think to change the perspective of what you are building? I know that it's just 1 year and a half, but it can be a case or can be an event that that make you realize that you can do more things or improve the thing that you are doing. So the audience and the other attorneys can realize, oh, okay, that's something that is happening to me. I can take advantage about that. Something in this journey of a year and a half with your firm that really impacts your journey.
Absolutely. So I had a case very early on in my career after opening the firm where the young lady, she was a mere month and a half from having to report to ICE and being deported. She had a formal deportation order against her that was not given wrongfully because she didn't appear to court, but she had a very good reason. Unfortunately, sometimes we in the immigration field see it a lot where there will be either a paralegal or a notary that isn't licensed and is filling out documents and doing things in the unlawful practice of law. The individual that she hired took her money, never filed anything, and never told her when she had court and didn't change her address. The information never got to her, and she came to me crying, thinking that she was gonna go be deported, leave her children behind, and no longer be able to return and be with them. So we automatically got to work reviewing her case, reviewing the situation, and finding that we couldn't even find the individual that she had hired. He had first lied that he was an attorney, then he said he was a paralegal for an attorney, and this person was nowhere to be found. Luckily, we were able to present the little evidence that she had about him to the court, along with her asylum application once again, and the court was kind enough to, in less than a month, reopen her case. She wasn't deported. They canceled her order of deportation, and we're now currently working on her asylum case and hoping for fantastic results when we have her final hearing.
Great. So that makes you happy in everything that you're doing, because you're changing life, like we were talking. Is that right?
Absolutely. It's what drives me in this field. You will see all sorts of people, but they all have the same end goal to leave the stress that comes with immigrating the worry of a deportation order or being separated from their families. And ultimately, what they're looking is to establish themselves here and build a good life.
Great, nice. That's nice. Well, and how do you balance your life? Having 5 employees, a firm that is just fairly new, and having a lot of work, especially now, with these new changes. How do you balance your life? What do you think is the key to balance your life with your family and your spouse and work?
That's such a good question. I just posted about this recently where when I told everyone that I was going to open my own firm, the answer was always, as a law firm owner, you're never going to have a real vacation. I felt like everyone was copying and pasting that. And if you know me, I am a vacation and travel aficionado. All I want to do is travel. So it was another fear and a block that I had about taking this step. And if you manage your time well, if you had good systems in place and you time manage, you can do it all. Within this year alone, we've been to Prague, Madrid, Cancun, Italy, and that's all with the employees and the systems that I have in place and making sure that my clients are well taken care of and that everything's up to date. We're attorneys first, but as a human being, you need to make sure that you're okay mentally to be able to offer things to your clients.
Oh, yeah, so it's really nice. So intentionally, you work in your time and how to delegate the task to your employees. And that's part of your success, because you are living a life as well. You are not building your own jail that I see sometimes attorneys that they're making ton of money, but they don't have life. It's just work and work and work. That's amazing. I think that's so inspiring. Uh so when you are talking about your family, do you have kids, Nelsis?
No, not yet.
Okay. So that means that for you, it's um, important to understand that having that balance in your life and traveling and spend time with your spouse and your family uh, put you in another level of happiness, in your business.
Absolutely. I think that is the formula for law firm success. It's that you need to be okay mentally, you need to be happy, you need to like what you're doing, and that might not be the case for everyone. So, part of the success is to eliminate that jail or prison that we create for ourselves. You didn't study and work this hard to hate what you do and to make it feel like a burden to you to do your job. It's something that as long as you are willing to dedicate the time, learn the strategies, manage your time is so important. You can definitely have it all and be happy and have a fulfilling career.
That's amazing. Well, that's a great advice for someone that has 25 years old and a year and a half in their own business. So tell me a little bit before we finish. Tell me a little bit about, okay, a year and a half. What do you do to get clients?
Well, right now, my biggest source of lead generation is social media. I know that's not what everyone wants to hear. I know that standing in front of the camera is daunting for many of us. I won't lie, it was for me as well. But right now, humanizing yourself and showing your client who they're going to work with is the biggest source of lead generation. So, right now, social media is the best way to go. I know that there's Google Leads and there's advertisements out there, but I highly encourage all attorneys to consider the social media route.
Okay, so you mentioned something that I think that is important, humanize. Social media help you to humanize, and people can feel you, see you, and connect with you with value. Is that right? So when you say social media, what exactly you do to share value?
So I have Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, all the profiles. And at the end of the day, when you stand in front of the camera and you either explain a new concept or a concept that might be new to your followers, not necessarily to you, they're learning through you. So they're no longer lost. And by the time that they come speak to you, they know that they're speaking to someone who's taken the time to teach them through these platforms. Aside from that, sharing your stories, sharing your day to day, giving information of how you operate. makes them see before even stepping into your office for that consultation who is going to be in charge of their case, how it's going to be handled, and the qualities of the individual who they are hiring.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that you need to do 100 videos every month, you know. So what's the amount of videos that you think that you or someone need to do to at least get exposed in the right way?
Of course, what I highly recommend, just because it's the easiest way to go about it, or at least the average, because I know there's people that do less and do more, and that's okay too, is 3 posts in a week. That could be split up in however way you want. And try to be active on Instagram stories if possible. Maybe 1, 2 stories in the week is also fine, just because that's what will really stay within your client or prospective clients' pages. And if it's someone that follows you, if they didn't remember you in that moment, but your little photo pops up, your account pops up, or a post pops up, you come back into their minds. And with marketing and social media, the biggest thing is staying relevant, making sure that the clients remember you when they do need you.
Great. That's branding, no? So essentially, the people can remember you because the topics that you're sharing and the value that you're offering. Wow, that's really important. Thank you for sharing that. You know, there's a lot of attorneys, like you said, that they're so afraid to be in front of the camera. I assume that you don't have a fancy 5,000 camera, you know. It's possible you're recording with your phone and just share it right away, you know. Sometimes we complicated things, you know, to when we want to do that. Sometimes we want to look better, we want to look thinner, we want to look in different ways and never take that step, you know, to jump and start to share that. Is that right?
That's even right for me and myself in the sense that when I first started making content and making videos, oh, I was insufferable. I stuttered, so I couldn't post that video. My hair was out of place, so I couldn't post that video. And it would take me 2 to 3 hours to make one decent video to post on social media. At the end of the day, people wanna see you, who you are, how you express yourself, and no one is going to take it as seriously as maybe you are and judging you the way that you are. Sometimes we can be our own worst enemy, and with this, you just have to do it.
Great. Well, this is an amazing interview, Nelsis. I'm so happy that you were able to jump and talk to you. You know, I think that it's an inspiration. You know, to see your small journey right now. You know, big and small at the same time when we're talking about timeline. But and be inspired. You know that we really can. Do hard things and we really can organize our life, you know, and have a happy life, you know, balancing, you know, family and work, you know. Is there something else you want to add before we go? Is there any advice or anything that you want to comment before we finish our interview?
Absolutely. First, I'd like to thank you for inviting me and for giving me this space to talk to you and to share my story. I want to thank anyone that's watching for taking the time. If you are an attorney and you are watching this and you have not started social media, jump on it right now. No one cares what your video looks like, they just want to see you. And if you are too scared to take the jump into being your own boss and opening your firm, don't. You believe in you, I believe in you, and I know you can do it. And if you need any extra help with that process, the Law Firm Success Formula is available to you, and as am I.
Well, thank you very much. There you go. So it was a pleasure to have you in this podcast. We really appreciate all the comments and advices and insight that you share with us. And remember, Nelsis is in Miami. She's an immigration attorney. And yes, you speak Spanish as well. Is that right?
Sí, también hablamos español. We speak Spanish as well.
Great. Thank you for being in this show. And we really appreciate We will always going to be in contact. Okay. Thank you, Nelson. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching and listening. If you're an attorney with your own law firm, we know you have valuable experiences to share. Reach out to us. We would love to interview you and bring your story to life on our show to inspire others attorneys in their journey.